trying to identify, where our weaknesses are, and we're trying to improve, on those things that we identify as deficiencies week in and week out. And that's worked for us, in us building the program where it is. And now with Division I, the playoffs the way it is, Division I, you can take some more chances and do those types of things to find out more about your team and how the playoffs are set up. So the select league and all is a little bit different. We have a little bit more, I guess, ample of an opportunity to do that as opposed to the non-select schools. And so we're going to put our kids in tough situations. We're going to challenge them, and because we want to make sure we try to cover every one of those situations, so when it comes time for it in a playoff game and a big playoff game, we're ready for those situations.
Sure. When we talked last week when we were at Rummel, you said that these types of games and getting enough players in was good, but that there was still a lot of work to do. You come here tonight, you scored 20 some odd points in the first quarter. You're able to, and then again, put a game almost comfortably away, but I feel like you're not fully satisfied.
No, not at all. Yeah, not at all. We had missed opportunities in the first, I think it was the first half. I think it was the second quarter. We jumped out. I challenged our guys, like I was just saying. Games like this, you want to see, how mentally tough your guys are. Are they sitting there listening to what everybody else is saying? And they hear things. Now everybody's on our is on the bandwagon, which is great. But you have to ignore the noise, the positive noise and the negative noise. So that's always a challenge, And I thought our guys had so the first indication of things this week is that we had a great week of practice. So I felt very good about it. But then you got to come out here and you got to play the game, and you can sit there and play the style of football that you're used to or not. And our guys, we challenged them to start fast. I thought they did. When I say concern or my disappointment came, especially offensively speaking, is that we had to settle for a field goal, which should have been a touchdown. That we had two drives that we had in scoring position that we made silly mistakes because we weren't focused. And that's the big thing for us, is that I want to sit there. That's the mental toughness aspect. The way we do our practice and all, we challenge our mental toughness. We had a lapse on day 3 of our practice, which is great because I'll be able to sit there and kind of point that out during day 3 of practice. That's what happens. The same type of mindset is what cost us from scoring on those 2 drives at the end of the second quarter. But then I did challenge our guys again, come out to start fast in the second half. I thought they did that. I was proud of them there. And then at that point, we started getting some young guys in. What I challenged the rest of the team about those is that when you put your younger guys in, you saw it was a disaster, and it is tough when you're sitting there trying to run. You're trying to get everybody in, you're trying to grow guys, and so it's a substitution nightmare. But we've done that now for 2 or 3 weeks now, so it should be better. It should be better, and that's where I'm at, because guess what? This is a great class. But then we're going to be dependent on those younger guys here in the next couple of years. And that's what we're just trying to develop. We have a lot of young guys on our team. We've played a lot of young guys because we know this class is special. And we want these young guys to learn, our young guys to learn from our upperclassmen.
Lastly, Coach, really, you have put a lot of guys in. You've been able to see a lot of your younger guys in, but it almost feels like you get your first start, your starters a few reps, and then before you know it, you're up big, and then you're taking them out, getting other guys in.
Right.
What is the talk, especially among the coaching staff, going into weeks like this, knowing that you feel like you're getting so many guys in and you're keeping a lot of guys fresh before the stretch run towards the end of the season?
That's key. There's a fine line, though. At this point in the season, we're a little bit banged up like anybody is during the season. So we're trying to develop. We're trying to establish depth. But you also want to make sure you want to make sure your guys are staying in condition and are ready to make sure, like when we go to Karen Crow next week, that's going to be a great state champion team that we're going up there to play, and our team is a very good football team. And if you're going to sit down and go down the wire, you want to make sure your guys are in condition. So that's what we have to look at. I'm going to go back and count reps and kind of look at how many reps that they play in the game, and know, hey, if this game goes down the wire, our guys are conditioned. So tomorrow when we wake up, our starters may be outside running, and we may be really wearing them out to make sure that they are in shape for that Karen Crow game. So there's a lot of things that go into it. So it's great to develop guys. You also want to leave from these games without having anybody injured. That was a big key for us. We wanted to get all of our guys out healthy, but we also got to look and see, hey, have they gotten enough snaps in the last 3 weeks? And when we go down to Karen Crow, in case it's a 4-quarter game, which is a good chance to be, or if it's an overtime game. So those things that we're looking at. So there's a fine line, and we want to stay fresh as well. So. It's definitely not a science. It's an art. You got to know where your team is, and we've done a good job, I think, as a staff of knowing where our team is throughout the course of the year. So it's a challenge for us to make sure we know that this year as well with our guys. We've only had Coach Pittman's, I think, third year we were undefeated, and then last year we were undefeated. So it's only been 2 years in Brother Martin's history of being undefeated. So that's something very special. I can tell you this. Where our guys are now, and I say this all the time in our banquets, our postseason banquets, where we are right now and where we have emerged to as a program has a lot to do with, our previous classes. Our guys that established, that we started coaching, y'all laid a tremendous foundation, and I think our guys have seen that, and then when you start having the success, people start seeing that and they buy in. Our guys have bought in. Going to the semifinals for the last 7 years speaks a lot. Says a lot, especially when you're playing the caliber of teams that we're playing. And so, once you see the success that you're having, it's a lot easier to buy in. But I can tell you this: your classes, classes after that, they're the ones that had the tough deal of laying the foundation. I always bring our guys back, because they don't necessarily know all the blood, sweat, and tears that those early classes did to make the program what it is today. So that's important to me. I've always told you all that. That is important. I always want our guys now to know about that. And speaking of that, we have 5 guys on staff that have played in this program. For me as a head coach, which says a lot. They've been, through the tough years, or started, the years that started turning the program around. I think that is the key. Is hey, bringing all those guys back that know what it takes, that have been there, and then can relate those messages to our players.
Perfect. And just building on that, I know that that you guys have had. I see you get pretty upset with a couple players today just for either lack of focus or making key mistakes in key situations. Right. Can you just speak on that and getting them developed?
Yes, that's key. We want our guys performing at the highest level, and I love all of our kids. I love them. I treat them like they're my own kids. They are. I treat them like mine. I'm going to be the biggest fan when they do things right. When I do things wrong, I'm going to be on them, because we want them to have success. We put in so much time. I don't want them to have any regrets. I want them to have the most success that they can. I love them. I love all you guys that we that have coached. We want them to be successful. And for me, it's not just successful here. It's I deal with my family all the time. Is that when my kids at home. When they make a mistake because of lack of focus, that's where I get upset. Why? Because that's a big thing in life. So it's going back to the last question, tying with this, is that we've had success because I do believe our players know we care about them, and it's more than just caring about wins and losses. It's about caring for them once they graduate across that stage, knowing the fact that if they live those program principles that we preach, they're going to be successful.